Once upon a time, in the peaceful African village of Idem, lived a woman named Adanna. She was known for her strength, wisdom, and kindness. From a very young age, Adanna had always been different from other girls in the village. While her friends and cousins would talk about getting married and having families, Adanna found joy in other things. She loved to spend her time exploring the forest, helping her parents in the fields, and learning ancient stories from the village elders. She was happiest when she was free to live her life as she pleased. As the years went by, Adanna became even more determined to live a life without a husband. "I will never marry," she declared to her friends one evening as they sat under the big baobab tree. Her friends laughed at her. They thought she was only joking. "Every woman marries, Adanna. It is our destiny," her best friend, Kemi, said softly. "Our mothers married, their mothers married, and so will we." But Adanna shook her head firmly. "Not me. I will not marry. I don't need a husband to be happy. I will live my life the way I choose." Her words soon spread throughout the village, and people were shocked. It was unheard of for a woman not to marry. Marriage was a way of life, the path everyone took to build families and secure their future. Some of the elders warned her parents, saying that if Adanna did not marry, their family would be cursed. But Adanna's parents, though concerned, loved their daughter and wanted her to be happy. Her mother, Ezin, often said, "Adanna, my child, I know you are strong and wise, but marriage is not a prison. It is a partnership. Perhaps you will find someone who understands you." "I don't need a partner, Mama," Adanna replied each time. "I am free, and that is how I want to stay." Despite her vow, many suitors came to Adanna's house, drawn by her beauty and intelligence. Men from near and far traveled to Idem to ask for her hand in marriage. But each time, Adanna refused, saying the same words, "I will not marry." One day, a very wealthy and influential man named Chief Amodi heard about Adanna. Chief Amodi was a man of great power, feared by many and admired by others. He had 5 wives already, but none of them had the beauty, wisdom, and strength that Adanna was known for. Chief Amodi was used to getting everything he wanted, and when he heard that there was a woman who had vowed never to marry, he took it as a challenge. "No woman can refuse me," he boasted to his servants. "I will make Adanna my wife, and she will thank me for it." Chief Amodi sent word to Adanna's home that he would visit her family with gifts and a proposal of marriage. When the villagers heard this, many believed that Adanna would finally break her vow. After all, who could refuse a man like Chief Amodi, who had wealth and power beyond anyone in Idem? On the day Chief Amodi arrived at Adanna's home, he brought with him great treasures. He presented her family with gold, expensive fabrics, rare spices, and many cattle. He stood before Adanna, tall and proud, with a smile on his face. "Adanna, daughter of Ezin, I have heard of your beauty and wisdom. I have come to ask for your hand in marriage. I will make you the most honored of all my wives, and you will want for nothing." Adanna looked at the gift spread before her and then at Chief Amodi. She could feel the weight of the villagers' eyes on her. They expected her to say yes, to finally give in and accept the life that was laid out for her. But Adanna was not moved by wealth or power. She stood tall and spoke with the same conviction she had always had. "Thank you, Chief Amodi, for your generous offer, but I will not marry you. I will not marry anyone." A hush fell over the crowd. No one had ever spoken to Chief Amodi like that. His face darkened with anger, but he kept his voice calm. "Perhaps you do not understand what I am offering you, Adanna. I can give you everything you could ever want." Adanna shook her head. "There is nothing you can give me that I want more than my freedom." Chief Amodi's pride was wounded, and he left her home, vowing that she would regret her decision. From that day forward, strange things began to happen in the village. First, Adanna's family's crops began to wither and die. Then, their livestock fell ill. The villagers began to whisper that it was Adanna's fault. They believed that her refusal to marry Chief Amodi had brought bad luck upon the village. As the days went on, Adanna's father, who had always been strong and healthy, fell mysteriously ill. The village elders spoke among themselves and decided to visit Adanna's family. They sat her parents down and said, Adanna's refusal to marry has angered the spirits. If she does not accept a husband soon, worse things will come. Adanna was heartbroken to see her family suffer, but she still refused to marry. There is something else at work here, she told her mother. I do not believe this is the work of the spirits. I must find out the truth. That night, as the moon shone brightly in the sky, Adanna slipped away from her home and went to visit Mama Neka, the wise old woman who lived at the edge of the village. Mama Neka was known for her knowledge of the spirits and her ability to see things that others could not. When Adanna arrived, Mama Neka welcomed her with a knowing smile. I have been expecting you, Adanna, she said. The troubles in your village are not the work of the spirits. Chief Amodi has used dark magic to curse your family because of your refusal to marry him. Adanna's eyes widened in shock. What can I do, Mama Neka? How can I break this curse? Mama Neka led Adanna to the edge of her hut, where a small fire burned. The only way to break the curse is to seek the help of the spirit of freedom. She lives high in the sacred mountain. But the journey is long and dangerous. You will need courage, for many challenges lie ahead. Without hesitation, Adanna agreed. She would do whatever it took to save her family and prove that she could live a life of freedom without marriage. Early the next morning, Adanna packed her things and set off for the sacred mountain. The path was difficult, filled with steep hills, thick forest, and fast-flowing rivers. But Adanna was determined, and she pressed on, her heart filled with hope. As she made her way through the forest, she met a young man named Uche. He was also traveling to the sacred mountain to seek answers for his own troubles. Uche was kind and gentle, and though Adanna had sworn never to marry, she couldn't help but feel a connection with him. You are brave to make this journey alone, Uche said as they walked together. Not many would dare to seek the spirit of freedom. Adanna smiled. I have no choice. My family's life depends on it. As they traveled together, facing many challenges along the way, Adanna and Uche grew closer. They fought off wild animals, crossed dangerous rivers, and climbed steep cliffs. Along the way, Adanna began to see that having a partner didn't mean losing her freedom. Uche never pressured her to marry him. He respected her choices and supported her every step of the way. After many days, they finally reached the top of the sacred mountain, where they found the spirit of freedom waiting for them. She was a beautiful and powerful being, with eyes that sparkled like the stars. Why have you come? The spirit of freedom asked in a voice that echoed like the wind. Adanna stepped forward and explained everything that had happened. The spirit of freedom listened carefully, her face calm and wise. You, Adanna, have shown great courage and strength, she said. You do not need a man to define you, but love is not a chain. It is a choice. I will lift the curse that Chief Amodi has placed upon your family. You have proven yourself worthy. With a wave of her hand, the spirit of freedom broke the curse, and Adanna felt a great weight lift from her shoulders. For the first time in many months, she smiled. As Adanna and Uche made their way back to the village, they realized how much they had grown to care for each other. Uche never asked her to marry him, but Adanna, for the first time, began to think that maybe marriage wasn't about losing her freedom. It was about finding a partner who respected her and gave her the space to be herself. When they returned to the village, the crops flourished again, and her father's health improved. The villagers welcomed her back as a hero, and Chief Amodi was never heard from again. In the end, Adanna made a choice. Not because she was forced or pressured, but because she wanted to. She married Uche, not as a way to give up her freedom, but because she had found someone who valued it as much as she did.